Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Maxwell Lumumba Africa, and today I'm going to discuss about what Linet KE came on camera and told subscribers about Claris. Linet KE seems determined to paint Claris in a negative light by portraying her as someone with a bad attitude who mistreats James. To me, Linet is playing devil's advocate, and the points she keeps bringing up simply don't add up. It feels like she's on a revenge mission. Ladies and gentlemen, subscribers have asked a lot of questions. How much were you paying Claris? Why can't you take down the videos that Claris as featured in your YouTube channel? Because now Claris has her own YouTube channel. Then you come up, tell subscribers a lot of issues that they don't even understand. I don't trust the timing of these all allegations because they appeared premeditated. If all these informations were supposedly known before, why is it only being revealed now? That is the question people should be asking. First, Linet made a post claiming that Claris did not work, or Claris didn't want to work and only wanted to film while seeking privacy. Then she and her husband came out during a phone call and said they would no longer work with Claris because the villagers supposedly disliked her. Now, they have suddenly produced what they claim are M-Pesa statements, presenting them almost like news anchor unveiling evidence. However, they never told the public how much they were actually paying Claris. Instead, they spend a lot of time discussing someone else's marriage. Every marriage has its ups and downs, including Linet's marriage. It has its own ups and downs. Claris and James have been together for almost 11 years. If James was truly unhappy, I believe he could have chosen to end the marriage long time ago. Instead, they have remained together, and from what the public has seen, they continue to support each other while growing their own YouTube channel. So, Linet, if your decision was genuinely based on work-related issues, tell people the real reason why you fired Claris instead of bringing couples' private marital issues into the public. Regarding Mama Chogo, Claris encouraged subscribers to support her so she could buy land. How then can Claris be accused of being jealousy? Imagine if this had happened in some other country. Let me just use US and UK as an example. Using a couple's personal issue is an attempt to defend yourself will raise serious concerns about their right to privacy. Bringing private family matters into the public eye to justify your action is not the strongest way to explain why someone was dismissed. Ultimately, people deserve transparency. If there was a legitimate reason for firing Claris, present that reason clearly instead of shifting the conversation to unrelated personal matters. I myself, Maxwell Lumumba, I usually come on camera and tell people that I react to videos that have been posted in public. When you come to the camera and post your marital status, I will react on that and I'll bring in my own take about what is happening. Now, Linet KE, she has gone ahead and exposed somebody's marital status on camera, telling people that this is the challenge that this marriage is facing. That is not acceptable. I was one of the people who I came on camera and said these issues should not even go to court because we don't know what was happening in both sides. Now, it makes me now believe that this issue, now Claris has all the opportunity to take them to court because she is trying to expose their marriage issue to the public. Let us watch this clip, then we dive deep to the entire discussion.
Or consent.
So we are explaining reason number one. And we are explaining the hanging part. So imagine
what transpired. James
transpired.
wants to hang himself. So
Yes.
this is the recording.
Things behind the scene. We try to solve so many marital issues behind the scene, and at some point we even felt like giving up.
Yeah.
That's why everything started. So Claris was
Alishikwa na anger, jealousy, call it the way it is.
yeah, she felt.
After watching that clip, it is now time to dive deep to the entire discussion of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who are not subscribed to this amazing YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and share this video to other individuals. Remember to turn on the notification bell so that any day, anytime I post any video, you people get updated. Watch my videos from the beginning up to the end without skipping those ads that you see there. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give like to this YouTube channel. Let us show love to this YouTube channel. Let us join the membership. Let us watch those ads without skipping them. Let us continue supporting this amazing YouTube channel. And today's story has sparked intense debate online, with supporters divided over what really happened between Claris and Linet KE. For some time, Claris has remained silent about Linet KE, and Linet KE has remained silent about Claris. But what began as a simple announcement that Claris will no longer be working with the channel has now turned into a much bigger public conversation. Claris chose to be independent. She opened a YouTube channel by the name Claris African Life. As more statements, phone calls, screenshot, and explanation continue to emerge, many viewers are now asking a simple story. Has the public been given the full story? One thing is very clear. When a professional relationship ends, people naturally want to understand why, but there is also an important question about where this line should be drawn between explaining a decision and exposing someone's personal life or private life. In this video, we will look at the timeline of the public statements, compare what has been said at different stages, and discuss the questions that remain unanswered. This is not about deciding who is right or wrong. It is about examining the information that has been shared publicly and allows viewers to make up their own mind. So sit back, watch until the end, and let us know the thought respectful in the comment section. Let us begin by telling us everything. Now, to understand why this story has attracted so much attention, we have to start at the beginning. When news first emerged that Claris was no longer working with the channel, many people expected a straightforward explanation. In situations like these, viewers usually assume there has been a disagreement over work, creative direction, or personal differences. That happens to many YouTube channels. But as the days went by, the conversation began to change. Instead of focusing only on working relationship, more personal issues started being discussed publicly. That is the point where many viewers felt the story had shifted from explaining a professional decision to discussing matter that some believe should have remained private. This change in direction is what has raised so many people question online. One question many people or many viewers have asked is this: if the issue was about work, why did the conversation eventually include details about marriage? For some people, those details help explain the situation. For others, they felt those personal issues or matters had little to do with whether someone could continue working on a channel. Ladies and gentlemen, this makes me believe that Linet KE, she's playing to be the victim. I know Linet KE, she's a student to Kenge. How many times has Kenge played to be the victim? Now this makes me believe that Linet KE attended Kenge's masterclass. That is why she's now bringing everything in a jointful way. So that difference in opinion has divided the audience. Another point that has attracted attention is the sequence of the public statement. Many viewers observe that the explanation appears to evolve over time. First, there were comments suggesting Claris preferred privacy and did not want to work in a way the channel expected. Later, there were additional public explanation about why the collaboration has ended. Now, Linet KE has seen Claris' YouTube channel is starting to grow, so he has decided, let me bring it down, because the public had different explanation at different times. Some people naturally begin asking whether these were hearing the complete pictures from the start. That does not automatically make anyone who was being dishonest. Sometimes people reveal information gradually, but when explanation changes or expand, audience often expected to ask questions instead of finding closure. That is exactly what has happened here. As more information was shared publicly, supporters from both sides began defending the people they believe. Some urged that the channel owners have every right to explain their decision. Others believed that the explanation had gone too far, including personal matters that did not need to become part of public discussion. We have seen new people rotating and circulating about land issues. In life, a lot can happen. Let us not judge people because of the past. Let us judge people in the present. For those who have been watching Claris and James now in their channel, yeah, they seem very happy. Let me not rule out any challenge that people face in relation. So this is where debate becomes less about choosing side and more about asking what level of privacy people should expect, even when they are public figures. Being a content creator often means living much of your life in public. However, many viewers believe there should be a boundary between explaining professional decision and discussing someone's private family life. That boundary is not easy to define. What Linet KE and Chalokush were supposed to explain to the audience what made their fallout, not explaining about these wanted to hang himself, I don't know, those are personal life that none of the audience, they want to listen to. Another issue viewers have raised is whether all relevant information was represented. For example, some have wondered whether enough context was being provided about working relations, such as explanation, responsibilities, or compensation. Those questions have contributed to the ongoing discussion, though the public may not have access to all the details. At the end of the day, only the people directly involved know everything that happened behind the scene. As viewers, we only see the portion of the story that are shared public. I've already seen a lot of people start commenting, doing videos about the same issue, and I told us I'm not going to take a stand when I'm reacting to these two individuals, and that is why it is important to avoid jumping to conclusion before all sides have the opportunity to speak. I know Claris will be responding back because Linet KE has chose to speak directly on camera. You know, there before. And why this issue has escalated up to this is because of not even the keyboard warriors, because of the people who are positioning themselves to talk for Claris. Let Claris come out, speak for herself. If she is speaking in Swahili, we will be translating it to English so that the international audience can really understand what is happening. And that is what a lot of people want to know. And one of the biggest questions viewers have raised is not necessarily who is right, but whether the public received a consistent explanation from the beginning when a story unfolds in stages. Because I've already seen Linet KE and Chalokush, they are saying that this is the part 1 of the story. They still have part 2, part 3, and part 4. We are not even interested in those parts because you are bringing in personal life, yeah? Personal people's life into public. So it is naturally for people to compare early statement with later ones. That does not automatically mean anyone was acting in bad faith, but it does not encourage people to ask questions. Another topic that has generated discussion is the difference between addressing professional issue and discussing personal matter. Many viewers expected the focus to remain on work-related concern. Instead, the public conversation including reference to private aspect of Claris and James' relationship. So that has led to some people to wonder whether those details were necessary to explain at the end of collaboration. Others disagree and believe that additional context was important. The difference of opinion is one reason the story has become so divisive. There is also another important point, whether what has been discussed about what period. Okay, this is what people have often asked about. A document on its own might not tell the entire story, and people have been asking this: what period does it cover? What expense does it include? What responsibility were attached to those payments? And is there other information that hasn't been shared public? Without that context, different people interpret the same information in completely different way. That is why it is not important to rush to conclusion based on isolated pieces of evidence. Another observation made many viewers in the social media can quickly turn disagreement into public threats or trial, instead of allowing the people directly involved to resolve their difference privately. Every new statement is analyzed, debated, and shared across multiple platforms. As a result, opinion often becomes stronger before all the facts are known. This isn't unique to this station. It has happened in many online controversy. As content creator, every public statement can shape how audience perceive a situation. This is why clarity, consistency, and fairness matters. At the same time, viewers also have the responsibility to think critically and avoid assuming that any single perspective tells the whole story. At this stage, there are still questions that remain unanswered publicly until more verified information become available. Many conclusions remain matters of opinion rather than established facts. Let me say this: when disagreement becomes public, they often grow beyond the people directly involved. Family members, supporters, and even public with no connection to the original issue can become part of the discussion. Already, they have brought in about, housewarming. There was not even one person from James' side who attended the housewarming. That is exactly what seems to happen in many online creators community. So, once a conversation gains attention, every new post, live stream, or comment is treated as another chapter in the story. Supporters begin defending the creator they trust, while critics search for evidence that support their own view. And before long, These discussions shift from the facts to competing narratives. This is why timing matters. When Linet KE and Charlie Kush did their video yesterday, the internet was in a blaze. A lot of reactors were saying, yeah, I told you, now you see. Yeah, I was just in my comfort zone listening. Then I said, because I've already reacted on a phone conversation that was done between Coco Mama and a lady there who was bringing in a lot of accusations. And I was asking people, where was she at first? Why do you come right now on camera? Because now Claris and Linet KE, they have their own difference. Now you want to tell us that this has happened, this you could go through. No, those are just bullshit. You're not even supposed to follow about that. So when new information is released days or weeks after the initial announcement, viewers naturally ask why it wasn't shared at the beginning. That does not necessarily mean that they has bad intent, but it does create more speculation. At the same time, it is worth remembering that the public usually sees only one part, what happens behind the scene. There might be many other conversations, agreement or disagreement that were never made public. But because of that, it is important not to present assumption as established fact. Another issue many people have discussed is the balance between the transparency and privacy. If a creator wants to explain why someone is no longer part of a team, audiences often appreciate a clear explanation. However, there is also a point where sharing too much about someone's personal life can raise concerns about whether those details were very necessary. So that balance is difficult, and different viewers will have different opinions about where the line should be drawn. That is what I usually ask people to do. Okay, as this story continues to unfold, it also raises a broader question that goes beyond Claris or Linet KE. How should content creators handle disagreement when they become public? We have different ways how content creator handle things. I've seen one of the content creator choosing to remain silent until everything has been done. Others choose to respond, telling the audience they are part of story. And today, in digital world, audience expect transparency. People don't like silence, especially when someone who has been part of a channel suddenly disappears. Viewers naturally wants an explanation. But transparency does not always mean sharing every detail. Sometimes the strongest explanation is also the simplest one. If the issue is about work, explain the work-related concern. If there are contractual or professional differences, address those matters alone. But once personal relationship, family matters, private conversation become part of public discussion, the focus often shift away from original issue. Instead of answering one question, it creates 10 new ones. I know Claris will be coming back to respond to these, and I know that will be happening. That is what many viewers feel has happened in this case. Rather than bringing the discussion to an end, each new public statement has encouraged more debates. Every live stream, every screenshot, every response has generated a fresh speculation. Social media moves so quickly. People often come on camera and speak a lot of things. If creator wants to explain why somebody is no longer part of the team, audience often appreciate a clear explanation. However, there is also a point where sharing becomes too much about someone's personal life, can raise concern about whether those details were necessary. So that balance is difficult, and different viewers will have different opinions about where the line should be drawn. Ultimately, controversy like these remind us that public discussion can have a lasting consequences. This can tell us a lot of things. Reputation can be affected. Relationship can become more strained, and misunderstanding can also spread so quickly in these YouTube platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, as audience, it is healthy to ask questions. It is healthy to compare what is being said and the timeline, to think critically, but it's also important to remember that we rarely have access to every conversation or every piece of evidence behind the scene. No viewer can honestly claim to know every detail unless they were publicly or directly involved. So that is why critical thinking matters more than taking side. Before accepting any claim, ask yourself, is this based on verified information? Is this someone's opinion or confirmed fact? Has the other side had a fair opportunity to respond? Could there be important context that what public has not seen? These questions don't tell us who is right, who is wrong. That is simply encourage us to evaluate information carefully instead of reacting emotionally. Perhaps the biggest lesson from this entire situation is that once a private disagreement became public, controlling the whole narrative. Everyone has an opinion, everyone has a theory, but not every theory is true. As this story develops, viewers should continue to watch with an open mind, evaluate new information fairly, and avoid reaching conclusion before the full picture is available. And let me tell us, this information has sparked controversies and conversation about trust, transparency, privacy, and responsibility that comes with having a public platform. A lot of things have been said, but at the end of the day, I'll be asking my audience, what do you think? Do you believe that the public has been given enough information to understand what has been happening? Or do you think there are still important questions that remains unanswered? Share your thoughts in the comment, but please keep the discussion respectful, healthy debate, and valuable. But personal attacks and harassment are not. If you find these analyses to be very much helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss the future analysis and in-depth discussion on trending story. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now, till we meet again. Goodbye.